Allen situation, we have to stop with this. We have to stop the glazing. I understand that he's a nice young man. I understand that he's got the Hollywood wife. And I understand that he fits the image that a lot of people want him to look like as an NFL quarterback and a star guy. But let us not forget, there's a reason he went to Wyoming.
I'm sure most of you guys are wondering, who in the hell is that dork? According to his bio on Lonely Man's, his name is Clinton Yates. Now, to his credit, Clinton Yates is a smart dude, highly intelligent, very well spoken. If Clinton Yates had utilized his strengths, his skill set, he might have enjoyed a lasting career in the mainstream media. Unfortunately, though, for Clint, I guess he's gonna have to return to his old job of indoctrinating impressionable students at Woke U, because Uncle KC has learned two things about Clinton Yates today that I didn't know before, which brings the grand total of what I know about Clinton Yates to 2. Number 1, as I was doing my research for this video, I learned that Clinton Yates has blocked Uncle KC on Twitter. Now, I have had the distinct honor of being blocked by dozens of deacons at Woke United Methodist on Twitter. In the vast majority of cases, I completely understand why they blocked me. I understand that it's traumatic, maybe even painful, to have their created myths of fake racism exposed and busted by some southern white dude. But Clinton Yates is so irrelevant. His media career is the equivalent of a flea on an elephant's ass, so I literally never talk about this dude. In all my years of doing this, I think this video is the second time that I have talked about Clinton Yates, which brings me to the second thing that I learned about him today. Yesterday morning, Clinton Yates was officially informed by the worldwide leader in woke ESPN that his services at the network were no longer needed. Their quota of fake racism has been met. ESPN, I guess, has satisfied their requirements for diversity, because as of yesterday morning, Clinton Yates was officially fired. For those that don't know, and judging by his ratings on ESPN Radio, I'm going to assume that's everyone. Clinton Yates was hired by ESPN back in 2016 as a member of the editorial team at The Undefeated, which eventually became known as Anscape. Now, Anscape is a website that was created by ESPN that's dedicated to covering racism in sports. When they can't find racism, they simply make it up. Clinton Yates was hired during the beginning phases of ESPN's dedication to diversity. Instead of hiring people based on merit, instead of hiring people with actual talent who could draw an audience, ESPN started hiring people based on their natural ability to identify with a marginalized group, or multiple marginalized groups. By 2021, over half of the people hired at ESPN were based on diversity, with 42% being women. 63% of their executive leadership consisted of people belonging to marginalized groups, or those who describe themselves as the ultimate victims of the oppressive colonizers in America. 64% of the entry-level positions at the network were given to marginalized groups. For years, it seemed that ESPN was sending a clear message to potential applicants, potential talent. Those lacking melanin need not apply. High-profile positions were given to Sarah Spain, Mina Kimes, the originator of the term huge embarrassing failure, Bomani Jones, Kate Fagan, Jamel Hill, although Jamel Hill was hired before ESPN fully embraced diversity. Damn near the entire panel on Around the Horn. And you know what they all have in common with their new friend Clinton? Outside of Mina Kimes, they're no longer working at ESPN. In the case of Clint, it wasn't from lack of opportunity. Over the last 10 years, ESPN gave Clinton Yates plenty of chances to succeed. Unfortunately, Clinton Yates seems to be allergic to success, but like his good friend Bo Jones, he fully embraces huge embarrassing failure. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Wanted to give you guys a brief heads up. Here in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be traveling out of the country. I'll be gone for 8 or 9 days, and there will be no videos during that period. I was planning to prep some videos before I left, but I need a break. This is going to be the first real break that I've had in at least 3 years, and I definitely need it. Now, obviously, I will remind you guys as we get closer to when I'm leaving, but if you don't see me for 8 or 9 days in early April, I didn't quit. Nothing bad happened to me. I'm just on vacation, and I will damn sure be returning. Clinton Yates started his career with ESPN at Anscape, writing articles about race. Last year, he wrote an excellent piece on the state of black baseball in America and how it's currently in critical condition. According to Clint, there aren't enough black players in Major League Baseball. We lack proper representation in America's pastime. This is outrageous! Ironically enough, Clinton Yates never complained about the lack of white players in the NBA, but to his credit, he never let pesky things like facts get in the way of pushing the agenda. Eventually, Clinton Yates was promoted to becoming a regular panelist on Around the Horn. Now, this was one of his crowning achievements at the worldwide leader in woke. Clinton Yates can take pride in the fact that he was part of the panel that completely destroyed this once popular show. No one will ever be able to take that achievement away from him. The streak of failure did not stop with the cancellation of Around the Horn. 2 years ago, ESPN gave Clinton Yates his own show called Morning Roast. Immediately, ESPN noticed that Morning Roast was on the clear path to huge embarrassing failure. So they decided to make some changes. Now, of course, they didn't change the host. They didn't change the real reason that no one was watching this toxic turd. Instead, ESPN decided to change the name of the show. I know what will change the trajectory. I know what will get us running on the path to success. Let's change the name of the show to ESPN Daily. ESPN Daily was a daily dose of failure. The show launched in 2024, and by February of 2025, it was canceled. Are you noticing a trend here? Are you starting to notice a pattern? I know it's been a while since we have talked about Bomani Jones, but if you've been following the channel for years, then you know the career trajectory of Clinton Yates is eerily similar to Bo Jones. Now, in his defense, Clinton Yates wasn't as heavily promoted like Bomani Jones was, but the end result was the exact same. Huge, embarrassing failure. Eventually, Clinton Yates was given a national spot on ESPN Radio. The show was called Clinton and Friends. It was compelling radio where Clinton and friends discussed their latest failures. I guess it wasn't compelling to the audience because Clinton Yates just got fired. Look, I don't have a problem with Clinton Yates. Even though he clearly has a problem with me, I don't have a problem with him. Outside of the brief research I did today, I don't know much about Clinton Yates. He seems like a smart dude. He reminds me of Bomani Jones. I read through some of his articles. I listened to clips of his show. Clinton Yates knows a lot about sports, but knowledge does not equate to talent. You got to remember, what the E in ESPN stands for. There's a reason that the E is the first letter in the acronym and not the S. Entertainment, Sports, Programming Network. Keyword, entertainment. Right now, Stephen A. Smith is being heavily criticized for knowing nothing about sports. He's being criticized by NBA players. He's being criticized by the media. And of course, he will always be criticized by Jason Whitlock. In terms of sports knowledge, Clinton Yates knows a hell of a lot more about sports than Stephen A. Smith does. If I were him, I would think that it's unfair that I'm being fired while Stephen A. Smith is still making $20 million a year. Now, Stephen A., he used to know about sports, especially the NBA, but he's focused on so many things right now. He's focused on politics. He's got 3 or 4 different shows that he's hosting live every week. It's just not possible for Stephen A. Smith to keep up with everything. Me personally, I think eventually he's going to have to choose a lane and stay in it. But either way, there's a reason Stephen A. Smith is making $20 million a year and Clinton Yates is filing for unemployment. This also applied to Bomani Jones, who ESPN desperately tried to make the face of the network. Bomani Jones is highly intelligent. Dude might be a genius. Clinton Yates, highly intelligent. I don't understand their weird obsession with fake racism, but there's no denying the fact that they are both smart dudes. What they're not is entertaining. They lack charisma. They're not relatable. Whether you love them or hate them, Stephen A. Smith is a mainstream draw. When he speaks, people listen. He might be fraudulent. He has a weird insecurity with his mythical basketball career that never existed. He's doing interviews, making up these traumatic stories about witnessing murders in a nightclub or murders in the hood. It's entirely possible that Jason Whitlock is absolutely right about Stephen A. Smith. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. When he speaks, people listen. ESPN seems to be distancing themselves a bit from diversity. Most of the diversity hires, Katie Nolan, Sarah Spain, Elle Duncan, the faces of diversity, they are no longer as prominent at the network, or in most cases, they're not even working at the network anymore. And you know who I think is responsible for this shift at ESPN? Obviously, he's not directly responsible, but I do think he is indirectly responsible. Pat McAfee. I remember when he was hired, his hardcore fan base, they were worried that ESPN was going to change Pat McAfee. But I think Pat McAfee is changing ESPN. I think ESPN has noticed that a show about sports on a sports network actually works. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.